Welcome back to Reddit Reads with B. We got some pretty crazy stories for you today. My girlfriend might hate me, but I have no idea what to do. Let's hop right into it. Any advice will be taken. This is from Redditor. Oh, deleted. They don't get to. We don't get to know. My girlfriend, 24 female, and I, 25 male, have been together for nearly 3 years. It was great for the first two. The past year has been somewhat rocky, but we've communicated and worked through it. I will admit I have caused a fair share of issues, and I'm not perfect. No one is. My common sense usage does not seem to run as well as I'd like. Also, I just really struggle to open up in tense situations, and I know how frustrating that can be. We recently purchased a home. I know the consensus is not to buy a home unless you are married, but there were no signs of it going south. Please do not give advice on this. She has been very mean to me lately. We rarely have sex. I'm lucky to get a kiss some days. And some nights I feel unwelcome in my own home. She will rage at the slightest mistake I make and then be in a horrible mood. I used to try and calm her down and talk to her, but she has made it abundantly clear that she wants to be alone and cool off. So I started giving that to her. Another thing, I have a hard time processing information real time as it is spoken to me, so I do have to ask her to repeat stuff quite often. This is now, you are ignoring me and do not care about me, arguments. Every time she tells me how she feels about something, I talk about my feelings too, and how I view the topic. And then I am now arguing and I don't listen. Doors get slammed, I get ignored, but if I don't hear or mishear one thing, I am shunned and ignored for some time. After a while, she eventually just comes out of it and acts like it's all okay. But I don't know how much more time that can take. That's a terrible way to handle situations. As she acts like this, she is constantly on her phone, doom scrolling any app she can, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Insta, etc. It's always I ask her to play a game or watch something, she wants phone time. I ask to play a video game together and she wants to watch TV, which is playing something random and scrolling. So, of course, I took that as maybe she doesn't want to hang out for now, which is fine. I have plenty of hobbies to keep me occupied. But no, I stopped asking, and now I never ask to hang out. I mean, you shouldn't have to ask to hang out with your significant other. Usually you should be like, hey, let's do this. And then, come up with ideas. At least that's how me and my partner work, my wife. I feel like I can never do anything right, no matter the situation. I always end up apologizing first, and I get made to feel bad. I have asked so many times for her to try being nicer, so to me, as it makes it easier to open up and be in my feelings, but nothing. Then she's mad that I'm freezing up and not talking. I don't want to leave her. I love her. And aside from what I have said here, we have had a really good and fun relationship. I just no longer feel like she genuinely enjoys my presence, and I don't know what to do. Literally, any help will be taken to heart. Thank you all for reading this. Absolutely. Thanks for posting it. Honestly, my take on this is it seems like y'all are drifting apart. I don't know the whole evidence of the story or if it's something that, like, maybe there's like a big thing that happened that caused her to make her feel this way about a year ago. But just walking away and wanting alone time after an argument and then like not really rehashing or, even sometimes you got to sit there and just be like, hey, I'm sorry for what I said or in this heat of the moment, or I don't want to make you feel that way. I'm just trying to let you know how I feel, sort of thing. I mean, I think clear communication really makes most things in relationships much easier to deal with. Even if you don't agree on the topic and never will, it's just important that you communicate. And in all honesty, I just think that you shouldn't go to bed mad at each other. Nor like I'm the type of individual that obviously if you're like falling asleep while we're talking or something, I'd never force you to stay awake. But I like to make sure we go to bed with everything handled. I just don't think that it's great to let it sit and sulk overnight, whether you have to sit up and talk till 4 a.m. or and you only talk for 20 minutes. Just you got to do what you got to do, especially like I hope that most people prioritize their serious relationships, their life partner, more than anything. A little bit less sleep through the night, but making sure that you and your partner are on rocky territory, I think is worth it in my opinion. But more than anything, I think it sounds to me like you just really need to open up to her about how you're feeling, because really, like obviously it sounds like you might have trouble communicating in person or maybe making the initial contact without, I know you don't say this exactly, but maybe it's hard for you to put all your words into thoughts right then and there, exactly how you're feeling. So maybe you should write it down on a piece of paper, or basically give it to her as a message. And some people like that, some people don't. It can be effective though if in the heat of the moment you may not be have all your thoughts collected, or maybe hard for you to say exactly what you want to say without coming across the wrong way. That's a great way to make sure you get across how you're feeling, but be able to sit and process, or like maybe even correct something if you don't like the way it sounds after you reread it. Obviously, at a certain point, you have to be able to talk and have a conversation, live in person, but getting out how you feel without interruption, that can be a really, really easy way to get around that. Maybe not easy, but it can be a way to get around it. All right, let's hop into these comments. Top commenter, historical underscore pi underscore 9527. I feel like I've heard that before. They said, before worrying about whether she hates you, I'd ask whether you feel actually respected, or I'd ask whether you actually feel respected and wanted in this relationship, because love by itself isn't going to make this sustainable. 100%. If you don't feel like you're getting love, I feel like that's the first thing that you're being, cared for as a partner. You gotta confront that. Absolutely. The longer you put it off, the harder it will be to recover from. The only thing I can think to do is sit down and genuinely talk to her about what's been happening. Maybe something happened in the past she can't move past, or something is affecting her completely outside of the relationship. Best of luck. Defiant ad 4104. I think that's a great. I think that really just putting your feelings out there and being as honest with each other as possible, and if it leads to a breakup, but both of you sit and realize that you're not happy, maybe that's the best route. Obviously having a house together is definitely going to make things more difficult, but you know, I don't think that sitting in here and feeling like your girlfriend hates you or doesn't want to be with you is the route to go either. So on SmartT1138 says, wow, what the F are some of these replies? They are horrible. Holy shit. Talk to her. Ask her why she's so upset all the time and what you can do to make it better. Make it clear you guys literally bought a house together. You want to grow your life with her. Some people don't even get that opportunity, but you guys did. Something is bothering her, and talking to her is the only way to figure it out. Absolutely. I mean, obviously, I know you said you have problems sometimes retaining all the information that's said in a short period of time, and I guess just do your best, really. That's all you really can do. Talk to her, and if, let's say it is a problem she can't work past, then maybe you do need to seek some sort of counseling or something to be able to work through it if you both see it as worth that. It seems to me like y'all both, at least at some point in your relationship, thought of spending the rest of your life together. You did buy a house together. It's a pretty big step. But I think that clear communication is really the only route for y'all. Without any communication that, is honest and from the heart, I just think that it's going to be a reoccurring issue, or just boil over until it blows up. Alrighty. Next story is coming from Redditor brief_specialist463. Should I end things with my high school sweetheart? This sounds like it's going to be pretty juicy. This post mentions sexual assault, emotional abuse, potential rape towards the end. If these topics are triggering for you, please skip this post. Oh no. I, 18 female, am considering breaking up with my boyfriend, 18 male, whom I'll call Mark. Invincible fans out there. I'm looking for outside perspective so I can feel confident that I'm making the right decision. Alright, this is a pro-con list, it looks like. No, but it's just reasons why you want to break up. Okay. Reasons why I want to break up. Number 1. About a month into our relationship, Mark began pressuring me to perform sexual acts with him. Around that time, he started giving me flowers and small gifts almost every week. I initially thought these gestures were sweet, but I now wonder whether they were meant to persuade me. Okay. Eventually, I told him I might be willing to have sex, but needed time to think about it. After we had sex for the first time, the flowers and gifts sort of just stopped, and his demeanor sort of changed. He seemed extremely excited to spend time with me, but afterwards, I felt as though he had gotten what he wanted and no longer needed to make the same effort as before. That's really sad. 2. A few months later, we stopped having sex because I kept reliving past trauma whenever it happened. When I explained this, he told me I would eventually get over it and that we could have sex when I was ready. However, in the same breath, he also asked me to estimate when I would be ready, which felt like another form of pressure. I mean, when dealing with trauma, it's kind of hard to say when the road's going to end. Mark makes comments about my clothing. If I wear a short skirt and a revealing top, sometimes he asks, "Is that all you're wearing?" Or, "Do you want to put a sweater over that?" He says it's to protect me, but these comments make me feel as though he's trying to control what I wear. I definitely think that you should be able to wear what you want, but I also agree in in having respect in each other. And if you guys agree that's obviously okay to wear. It not necessarily on him, but I feel like there's definitely a respectful line that is in a relationship of if your boobs are basically falling out, if that's not something he's comfortable with, I would hope that a partner would be like, okay, let me tone it down a bit. But if he's trying to make you dress like an Amish person, then that's definitely very controlling. 4. He frequently downplays my feelings. When I tell him I'm uncomfortable or feeling misunderstood, he says, "I need to get over it," or explains why everything is fine as it is. I've asked him several times to take my feelings more seriously, but the same thing continues to happen. Mark once called, oh, that was number 4. Number 5. Mark once called one of our mutual female friends a bitch during an argument. I found out months later when she told me herself. Apparently, Mark begged her not to tell me because he knew I'd be upset. They both kept it from me. I mean, some people are bitches. Did she deserve it? Maybe not. Did she deserve it? Maybe. I don't really know the conversation. This affects me especially because my biological dad used to call me that word repeatedly. I should have read a little bit further. I promised myself I would never date a man who called a woman that, regardless of the intentions. Part of me wants to forgive Mark, but another part worries he could eventually speak to me that way too. I mean, if that's what you see, or you're seeing a pattern like that, and it's not something that you would be able to nor one, I don't think that you should ever call your partner a bitch. That's not acceptable at all. But if that's a end all be all, sort of that's you have to set boundaries for sure. And if that's a boundary that can't be broken or can't be recovered from, totally understandable. Number 6. I don't feel that Mark supports my goals. I'll be attending university next year, while he plans to take a year off to earn money before college. When I told him I had been accepted to my dream university, he became quiet and barely spoke to me for several days. Later, he told me I shouldn't waste my time at university and should work for a year or two like he's doing. Working first is a valid choice, but it wasn't what I want. I want to begin university immediately and work towards my future. When I explained this, he kept asking whether I was sure. In the past, he's also seemed frustrated when my grades were higher than his. I don't understand why he can never simply be happy for me. I mean, that's definitely a bad trait to be in a partner, even if it's, something that you can't attain or attain as easily. Taking it out on your partner or in a form of jealousy or something is never the answer. Number 7 here. Mark spends time with his friends who make immature and misogynistic jokes, including those about sexual assaults and rape. As far as I know, he hasn't made any of those jokes himself, but I find it concerning that he's comfortable surrounding himself with people who do. I mean, it doesn't make jokes that far as you know. Birds of a feather flock together, my friend. He makes comments that pressure me. Number 8, he makes comments that pressure me to be physically affectionate, such as, "It feels like forever since we've done it," or, "When was the last time he kissed? It feels like you don't want to kiss me anymore." I know he's naturally affectionate and may not intend to hurt me, but these comments make me uncomfortable. I dislike physical touch for most people and only enjoy intimacy on my own terms. He knows this, yet continues to make comments like that. Number 9. I find it difficult to have serious conversations with him because he lacks emotional maturity. When I explain my trauma or why something is difficult, he sometimes says, "I can teach you how to do that again," which completely misses the point. When I say I dislike something, I'm not inviting him to pressure me into trying it again. I just feel like at times he refuses to understand me or where I'm coming from. And number 10. The biggest reason why I'm considering entering the relationship involves a sleepover we had one night. Mark asked me almost immediately whether I wanted to have sex. I said maybe because I was exhausted and had a severe migraine. After we watched the part of his show, when he asked me the same question again, I said maybe, again, and we continued watching. By then, I had started falling asleep and was visibly exhausted. But then he asked me a third time. I eventually said yes simply because I wanted him to stop asking. I was so tired that I don't remember consciously agreeing. Um, I don't know, it kind of sounds like you just said you consciously agreed, but now you're saying, I'm a little confused. And I don't remember much of what happened because I had fallen asleep. Oh, you fell asleep in the middle of it? I mean, if someone fell asleep in the middle of sex, I don't understand why you'd want to continue. That just seems like they're not interested. Then the next morning, Mark repeatedly apologized and said he felt terrible. Months later, he told me he felt disgusted with himself and couldn't forgive himself. At the time, I forgave him, but I still feel sick whenever I think about it. There are other reasons, but these are the ones that stand out the most. I mean, that last number 10, I mean, him feeling guilty about it is kind of an indicator that it doesn't seem like it was fully consensual, in my opinion. And so that's really weird. If that's the case, that's truly horrible, and I'm sorry that you had to go through that. I think it's very clear that you need to kind of. Oh, sorry, I almost skipped over the final notes. Final notes. I know this post almost entirely on Mark's negative qualities, focuses on all of his negatives, but he can also be sweet and caring. And he often makes me feel both safe and appreciated. That's part of why I feel so conflicted. I'm not trying to villainize him by any means. I'm simply describing the experiences that have caused me to reconsider the relationship. I believe he's a good person at heart, but I'm exhausted from keeping things secret and needed somewhere to get them off my chest. So Reddit, should I end things with my high school sweetheart? Please give me your honest advice. I think that is obviously the decision for you to make. I would never say that without, I mean, I got, again, you get a majority or a large amount of context, but I just think that's obviously up for you to make at the end. Now, so far, obviously, after only hearing the, negative things about him, I do think that it is very reasonable to be reconsidering this situation. Because, I mean, I don't know how long exactly that y'all have been together, but if it's been escalating to this point and, it seems that he knows you. I don't know if he knows for sure, but it seems like he kept asking until you did cave, and then him feeling guilty about it, about making you, or at least coercing you into have sex, definitely just seems like he knows he did something wrong, and that in itself is the biggest thing for me, especially because if you felt that you were raped, I don't want YouTube to take this video down or something, but then maybe even make a police report about it. It sounds to me like he's willingly admitted it, but if you don't want to, break up and you want to give him another chance, I would suppose making a list of absolute, boundaries that cannot be crossed, and if they are, then that's it. One chance, no more. And then stand your ground. In all honesty, it sounds like he will probably not follow those rules or your wishes based off the previous things, and consistently asking you to have sex until you just cave. But if you truly want to give him the opportunity, I'd say that that's kind of like the only option, other than just breaking it off completely and going your own ways. It doesn't seem like you have any serious commitments yet. You're not even in the same apartment or anything. You don't live together. So I think if there is a time to break it off, it'd be now. Moving on to these comments, we got top 1% commenter at the top. Wise Phoenix 80. Please, please, please break up. Do it today. Don't apologize and don't look back. Absolutely. If you think that's a choice you need to do, 100% do it. Follow through. Don't try to protect him. It's you that you need to worry about. I didn't read it, but if you're making a post this long on Reddit, I think you have your answer. Ancient Seat is 4044. I mean, I don't think making this post, posting all the negatives, you're going to get anything other than people agreeing with you to move on. It doesn't seem like it's a pro-con list. It's just cons. Do you have any pros? I mean, other than the brief bit at the end. But there, and there's plenty of people that can be sweet and caring as well to you, and actually treat you with respect, and let you move on your own terms, especially when it comes to having sex. That's a sacred thing for a lot of people. At least it should be. And then the last one is boats and ladies 28. Yeah, move on. So it sounds to me pretty unanimous from a lot of these. Yeah, you GTFO now. There's no way this guy's a good person at heart. Yeah, I don't see it being a very successful relationship without a lot of work going into it. And it seems like mainly on his side. Obviously, I know you may have your own flaws, but it just seems to me like he doesn't really respect you and what you want to happen with your life and the pace that you want it to happen. Not just with sex in a relationship, but like also with the schooling. All right, hopping into number 3 here. From Yogurt Embarrassed 437, I have, do I bring up my insecurities and distrust with my partner? Me, 25 female, and my boyfriend, 25 male, have been dating for almost 3 years now, just like the last situation. A little over a year ago when we moved in with each other, the situation before that, the first one. And they moved in after 2 years. Moving about 4 hours away from where we met for work, about 6 months into living together, he was acting super weird about his phone. And I went through it while he slept, which I wasn't and still am very ashamed of. When I did this, I found several porn accounts for apps like OnlyFans and similar services. Not looking good, bruv. While digging through, I found he had been paying and interacting with these services the entire time we had been dating, canceling the paid subscription aspect the month we moved in together. Oh, we had many very open conversations about boundaries and expectations early in our relationship, and had mutually agreed to things like this were not okay. When I brought up what I found, he was angry I had gone through his phone, but apologized and deleted the profile. Here's where I'm stuck. We never really talked about it, and just apologized and moved on. Almost like we're pretending it never happened. Recently, I have this awful need to look through gain as our sex life has degraded greatly. Need to look through gain. He never initiates, never seems to want sex or to be intimate in other non-sexual ways, but sneaks off to the bathroom in the early morning. Do I bring up that I never got over the OnlyFans thing and the lack of sexual interest? I worry I'm projecting my personal insecurities and will start a fight for no reason. I saw what and who he was into, and I know I could never compete with the sort of gorgeous women he seems interested in. I'm not particularly pretty and don't have a very nice body, and I can't get past this feeling of not being attractive enough. I wish I could tell him how thinking of the OnlyFans situations won't leave my brain. I'm so torn up and don't know how much of these feelings and worries to share. My partner is a wonderful person. Outside of this, I'm so terrified starting something will ruin everything. What do I do, and how do I explain or insist talking about it? In all honesty, I think that you just need to be straightforward about it, especially if in the early relationship you both agree that this is not an okay thing to do, and then he's been continually doing it since then and probably before then. And not only that, like, not to make this point or to be like gross, but like there's plenty of free porn out there. The fact that he's paying for it is kind of even worse to me, in my opinion. Not only that, if it's women, I can understand maybe if it's someone that looked like you and you didn't have a high libido or something, but I'm going to refer back to the first thing I said, that if you both agree that this is wrong, then you should not be doing it. I think that's a massive, distrust. And I think that him doing that is showing that he doesn't, respect you or is willing to lie to you. And I think that both of those are terrible things. Not only that, it's clearly making you feel terrible. And you just shouldn't have to sit there and deal with that. I think that you should make it clear, I don't want this going on anymore. And it's, it hasn't been able to leave my brain, and I'm very weary that you're still doing it, especially sneaking off early in the morning. Spending an extended period of time in the bathroom. I'm sure that he's probably doing something if he has a history or a track record like that. But that's fully an assumption. I don't really know. These comments, we got a significant underscore row underscore 4874. I would bring it up again, but honestly, I don't know what the best way is. I think that direct way is the best way. I don't think there should really be any beating around the bush when it comes to this. And links for God. You honestly need to tell him everything about you. But right now is not the time. I'm a porn addict, which he may be as well, but porn is never, nor will I ever allow it to come between my partner and I. She always gets my best, as you should always get his best. Let him know that you two not being intimate together often is making you worry that you are not good enough for him. Let him know how you feel about the OFBS, OnlyFans BS, which I think is a disgusting thing portraying itself as porn, and that you don't think you are anything like those models. Don't open all the way up, though, because I don't feel it would be wise right now. I deeply appreciate the insight. Thank you, from the OP, from the op. Links for God responded, I do my best to help everyone out and try to help them be happier in life. It's my joy, even when it seems to be the opposite. You can DM if you have any other blah blah blah. Just reaching out, saying that they can reach out for more advice or any more insight. But I mean, I just truly think that you should be honest with him and straight up. And if it's something that he can't get past or stop doing, then I think that you should probably put your foot down, even if it means breaking a lease. All right, y'all, hopping into story number 4. Working Bumblebee 46 posts, boyfriend and cat problem. Interesting. I'm really hoping I can get some advice on a situation involving my sister and her boyfriend and their kitten, who is not even a year old yet, because it's honestly getting to the point where she doesn't know what to do anymore. When they first got the cat, her boyfriend really wanted a black cat. The cat they ended up with wasn't black, but at the time he seemed okay with it. As the months went by, he actually became really attached to the cat. He used to call the cat his baby, loved having it around, and everything seemed completely fine. But lately things have changed a lot. The cat has been a bit naughty and has obviously done things that have frustrated him. Since then, his attitude towards the cat has completely changed. He barely wants the cat near him anymore, and it's getting to the point where it feels like he doesn't want anything to do with the cat at all. I'm not saying he's abusing the cat, but that's not what I'm trying to say. It's more that he seems to have completely withdrawn from the cat and doesn't want it around him, even though he used to absolutely adore it and call it his baby. What makes it even harder is that the issue of the cat not being black seems to have come up again. At first, he seemed to accept that and was happy with the cat, so my sister is struggling to understand how things have gone from him loving this cat so much to not wanting it near him. And honestly, it's really starting to get to my sister too. She feels like she's going crazy because she remembers how much he loved the cat and how happy he was with it. She feels like she did something really good for him by helping with the cat, and now it's like he doesn't even want the cat anymore. She's confused and upset and doesn't know whether she's overthinking everything or whether she has a genuine reason to be concerned. She doesn't want to get rid of the cat. I mean, she's probably got attached to it too. That's not the goal at all. We just want to know how to approach the situation and how to explain to him that having a pet is a commitment. Absolutely. Cats aren't going to be perfect. Nothing and no one is. They're going to have moments where they're naughty, they're going to test boundaries, and sometimes they're going to be frustrating, probably even more than some other animals because they're very, very conscious and sentient, beings, if you will. But that doesn't mean you stop caring about them or suddenly treat them like they don't belong. Right, like what would you do if you had a kid? So I'm really looking for some genuine advice. How do you talk to someone who has suddenly gone from absolutely loving their pet to not wanting the pet anywhere near them? How do you explain that animals need patience, understanding, and consistency, especially when they're behaving bad? I'm not trying to attack him, start an argument, or get rid of the cat. I just want to know how my sister can handle the situation and how she can have a proper conversation with him without making things worse. Please be kind. My sister is already struggling with this and just wants to do the right thing for both her, boyfriend, and the cat. If anyone has been through something similar, I'd really appreciate hearing your advice and experiences. Interesting. Actually, I feel like I have some pretty good insight on this. My wife and I, soon after we had our daughter, got a cat actually. We love our cat. She's amazing. At first, it's the first cat I've ever owned, so I was a bit skeptical. I maybe not skeptical, but like more so just like, I don't know. I guess that is skeptical. um, but in reality, I've come to love this cat. We definitely have had problems, figuring out what is best for her, but everything's an adjustment. She went from living in a kennel her whole life. We got her from PetSmart, got her at approximately 2 months old, which conveniently enough was the same age as my daughter at the time. So they're going to grow up together, and we really call it her cat. But the cat had recently a problem we had overcome was the cat kept jumping on the counters and consistently was clawing at the couch, making it look pretty bad, tearing it up. And it's a cloth couch, so it gets these all stringies and everything. I feel like leather would be even worse. But in that situation, it's not like we took the anger out of the cat. We tried multiple different things. We tried putting her in the bathroom. We tried getting her other scratching toys. We tried trimming her nails a lot more regularly, which did come difficult at times, especially when she gets those back legs kicking. Man, oh man, can she really get you good? But that's kind of part of having an animal is each of them are going to have their own challenges and problems. Never would we take it out on the cat. If she went and peed somewhere and then I went over and looked and saw that, her pee pad, which was part of her a litter box setup, it kind of, the liquid goes through and it just collects the solids. But if we'd go over there and the pee pad was full, I can't blame her for, her not wanting to pee somewhere where she thinks it's full, or she can, sit there and smell the pheromones. So obviously getting into the routine of changing that more regularly. And then what the biggest help with us was getting her a cat tower that also had like a really big scratch pad on it. This one's made out of cardboard, and she tends to really, really like the cardboard. So like each cat is different, just like each person is different. I think that because the cat started acting a little bit weird, they go through many changes. They're growing from a little tiny baby kitten up to, I don't know how old they are when they got him, but for my example at least, up into an adult cat and teenage cat, and they go through the terrible twos and the young adolescent problems and stuff, just like many other species of animals, both human and non-human, or different parts of the animal kingdom. Maybe not species of animals, because I don't really know how to exactly classify that, but cats are no different. Just like you're gonna have, if you plan on having kids, they're gonna go through phases where they're a little bit more rambunctious and troublesome than others. It's all part of life. I just think that being upfront and especially like the color of the cat, I don't really think that should have that much effect on it. Especially if you've had it for a while, that's just silly. But I think that just being straightforward with him and being like what's going on, I think that it's definitely weird for him to start giving the cat the cold shoulder. Imagine like what he's gonna do whenever he thinks that you're treating him bad or acting weird. And not, instead of confronting the situation, he might just give you the cold shoulder and let you think whatever. All right, after my rant about that little kitty, let's go ahead and go on to these comments. The boyfriend is totally unreasonable. Don't allow men to pull this on either of you. It's abnormal. Paramedic Elegant 7106, definitely abnormal. How do you go from loving something and then, if you truly love something and see it's changing, you would want to, make sure it's doing all right and that it is happy, it being the cat. Well, it's pretty clear your boyfriend is being unreasonable, with Black Stripe says. But this is the sort of attitude a lot of people have towards cats. They hate that cats can't be trained in the same way dogs can. And often people under their own design often operate under their own design rather than being a loving devotee. One of the only domesticated animals that can truly plan ahead and, learn your schedule and do certain things. It's not because they're malicious animals, though. It's because they're extremely intelligent. That's just what it is. They're very independent thinkers, and I think that if you're not okay with that, then that's going to be the biggest problem. Under no circumstance should getting rid of the cat be an option, because as you said, they are a commitment, and the cat is their responsibility. My first question is the boyfriend okay? Because if you love the cat initially, then I don't really see the possibility for the cat's less than ideal behavior as a sole reason for sudden absence of affection. To me, knowing very little about these people outside of this post and taking a reach, it seems like a lot could be solved with a genuine one-on-one convo between him and your sister. Absolutely. Original poster says the boyfriend is okay. He is working and does his normal, aka play video games and talk to his mates, but it's only recently they have noticed the boyfriend not wanting the cat near him. I mean, does the cat have the tendency to like kind of play where they're like, biting and gnawing on them? Because some cats play like that, and if he doesn't like that, then the best way I realized I thought giving cats like direct kind of, you do this, then you're gonna go and sort of time out, or we had put her in a room with a litter box and everything for a little bit to teach her a lesson. Like we didn't want you to go in there, but that was a complete wrong way of handling it. But we were told that actually just if they're jumped on the counter, take them off simply, put them on the floor or on their tower, and just don't pay any attention to them, because the way it was described to us is it's not that the cat doesn't know what they're doing. They usually do most of the time if they're doing something wrong. It's just they may not agree with the rules, or there may be something that's causing them to do that. Just like if their pee pad is full, as I was saying earlier, they might go pee somewhere else because they don't think they have anywhere to pee. And so at that point, it falls on the fault of the owner, in my opinion. With black straps reminded to that guy, the original poster, I mean. So why is there so much trepidation in your sister just having a talk with him? None of us are going to know the whole picture from this post. If you're puzzled and concerned about his behavior, the only recourse of action is to communicate and find out what the problem is. Absolutely. I think that confronting this head on and being like, yo, what the F? What's going on? Do we need to talk? Someone else said, they responded, she is trying at the moment. Sorry that I wanted to help my sister out, but I couldn't think of the right advice. I went to Reddit. I'm trying this way while she tries her way. I mean, I think you have the right, I think you have a good heart in mind, but honestly, it's I don't know that it's your situation to really have to handle. I can't pronounce this name. I'm not even going to try. The next Redditor commented, what the F? WTF? I think you guys are overcomplicating this way too much. A cat is a cat. Cats are going to be annoying sometimes. Knock things over, scratch things, get into things and test boundaries. That's not some shocking change in personality. That's literally part of having a cat. Absolutely. They're independent. They're going to test things. They're going to, you put a glass on the counter, they might swat it a little bit to see what happens. She's knocked over cups off of our things, but not necessarily scolding her, but like making it seem like we didn't like that is usually what's had the best result. Your boyfriend doesn't get to love the cat when it's cute and affectionate and then suddenly act like the cat is a problem when it becomes inconvenient. And bringing up the fact that he originally wanted a black cat again is especially weird. What exactly is the cat supposed to do about its own fur color? Right. If he genuinely doesn't want a cat anymore, then he needs to be an adult and say that clearly. But, in quotations, he used to call his cat his baby and now he doesn't want it near him, isn't something you solve by figuring out the perfect way to make him love the cat again. Your sister should stop trying to manage his feelings about the cat and have a straightforward conversation with him. Does she actually want to live with this animal or not? Because if the answer is no, that's a relationship problem, not a cat problem. Exactly. Hold on. As I've said, she's currently talking to him about his feelings towards the cat. She had a freak out to me, and as I'm not the right person in the right headspace to give her the right advice at the moment, but it might be the relationship. They've been together for 8 years. Holy crap. I mean, if they can't come to their partner or feel comfortable just confronting them and saying, yo, you're acting weird, what's going on? Then I think there's some things that need to be discussed more than just the cat. But that's my personal opinion. I think it might be a little bit complicated, but I think the easiest course is just to say, yeah, what's going on? Like, what can I do? Do you need to talk about something? Like, it's really not that hard. And I think that having clear communication, as I said way earlier in this, is going to be the best way to go about this. Alrighty, No School 35. This is going to be our last story of this video. She says, I think I'm a girl pervert. I did something gross. Ugh. Like the title says, I think I might be a girl pervert. Today I did something pretty perverted. I work at a place that has a sauna, and I'm in charge of cleaning the sauna. Usually, I set it up for people before they come in. I lay some towels down in advance for their appointment. Well, today, a cute couple came in for an appointment, and I had the sauna set up for them. I checked them in and started their timer. After they finished, I asked them how their session went. The guy answered, "Sorry in advance, I got so sweaty in there." And I assured him it was fine, and they left. For some reason, when he said that, I got so turned on by the idea that it would be so gross in there with all this sweat on the towels. I stated thinking, what if he wiped his sweaty ass with a towel, and what if they effed in there and their juices are all over the towels? I got turned on mainly thinking about her sweaty boyfriend. In parentheses, I have a fetish for dirty men / hairy men / stinky men, men's dirty buttholes. What? So I went in there, and instead of cleaning the sauna, I got naked and put their wet towels all over me with their juices. I sucked on them and put them on my face, rubbed them all over my body, and made myself finish, and so hard. I'm trying to paraphrase here for some of these words, guys. After I was done, cleaned up, finished work, and closed out for the day, I just got home and took a shower, and I can't stop thinking about how dirty I am and the fact that it turns me on thinking about what I did today. What the hell? Edit. Yes, I'm a girl. Yes, I know I'm gross. This is a real thing that I did today. I have a lot of nasty fetishes, unfortunately. Well, let's go ahead and hop into my take. What the hell? That is that I think that's beyond perverted. I don't even know what to call that. That's just full on freaky. I mean, if that's what you're into, that's definitely weird though. I think that if it floats your boat, but I also think it's kind of weird, like that you're kind of doing this for people without their permission. Like if you had a partner or something, I could understand a bit more, but or like that you like discuss this with, but like some random people, I feel like that's kind of an invasion. Just like sucking on their sweat juice, like that's just gross to even think about. I think that you should definitely never tell anybody, and you should take that to your grave. That is insane. Let's see what these comments have to say. I'm definitely gonna go more than 3 comments. This is some pretty crazy stuff. You know what? I've been saying that I need a break from Reddit, and this might be the push I needed. Yeah. Thank you, Nor. Nor, thank you. What a fitting name for this situation. Free ad responded, couldn't have said it better myself because what? Yeah, I don't even know the freakiest people that would even like think of this. Like I understand like maybe the sweaty men, working hard. Some girls are into that, but the hairy buttholes and stuff like that. I mean, that's a crazy fetish. That's some I don't know if you guys ever watched this, but The Good Place. That's that like that one guy that becomes like a little like sex doll because he's like a robot sort of thing. If you've never seen the show, this is gonna sound really weird to you, but that's some freaky stuff you see on that show. Like I couldn't like what? Next Redditor says, yeah, sure you did. Weird man who wrote this made up story. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that this is 100. If this is fair, like, I mean, getting completely butt naked at work and rubbing towels all over yourself, I mean, it sounds like you're more of an exhibitionist as well. Someone said, writing style aside, you know what's kind of crazy? Like, I know 100% certain that there are guys out there that would do this. Considering there were guys buying that one Gamer Girls used bathwater. So in my mind, that kind of gives me credence to the idea that why wouldn't there be a girl out there that would do it? Person has a fetish and a way to do it without getting caught. I mean, I guess if this is like stopping you from doing something worse or even weirder, then yeah, go ahead. But I'm not going to sit here and act like this is normal. This is really weird, like super weird. But hey, whatever floats your boat or soaks your towel, whatever you want to call it. Alrighty, once again, thank y'all for tuning in. Hopefully you stayed toward the end because that last story was bonkers. Like, comment, subscribe, share, you know all the things. Show the channel as much support as you can, and I'm going to keep pumping these videos out as best as I can. Sorry for the late upload today. Had a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, tune in for the next one. Have a great Wednesday night.